let's go ahead and start. Call to order and roll call. There's 5 of us here. So we at least have a quorum. Can we do it?
Your name on. Amy is here helping today since Erica did have her baby.
Oh, sweet.
So Amy's gonna help us today. So I think it would be helpful if we did a roll call just so she knows who of the board members are here since this is her first one with us.
I'll start, Melissa.
Arlene.
Grace.
And I'm thinking Josh may not make it, I'm not sure. So did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from the December 10th meeting?
I didn't really have one small group. It's really tiny one thing, so. I remember signing there's a it's to be purple. I know, I hate to be that person. Those are doing this anyway.
Okay, the first bullet point should be what?
There's a B in there, it should be. Or B. That's right. There's often a Longmont in there.
Oh, I think I saw that and ignored it.
Yeah, I
Type
have
of thing I
so
would
many
do.
documents I can't let them know.
Well, okay. All right. So, need approval of the minutes with the change, correction. Okay, Melissa, second. Glenn? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's like you did. Yeah. Oh, okay, so Melissa. Okay. I'll be invited to be joined.
Like anyone today.
So maybe, when did you guys want to introduce?
Well, I have it, I put it on here because we definitely want to go around and introduce our new folks. But Brandy has to run to another meeting. So I put Brandy's presentation on first. And then I think we'll dig into our staff and how things are going around here.
So Brandy is Senior Services? Okay, all right. Brandy.
Can you hear us okay, Brandy?
You know, sometimes I can and sometimes it's a little garbled.
Okay.
So
I'll try
If
to
I miss any
repeat
questions, I'll
things since I'm closest.
She can put the
If
transcript
needed.
on. I think she can do it too. That helps.
All right, take it away, Brandy.
we have gotten some statistics about Leo Olivares's work as the LHA resource specialist. If everybody is not aware, if you've got new people, Leo serves 6 older adult properties with the Housing Authority. So he works with Hearthstone, Lodge, Spring Creek, Fall River, Aspen Meadows Senior Apartments, and Village on Main. And each of the properties help share costs for him. He is supervised and supported by Senior Services, but he works for LHA. So he's got an interesting shared position. Our staff here also help support folks at the suites. So not with Leo, but our other resource specialists and myself will work with folks at the suites too. So we have some information about kind of what the big needs were across the properties last year. And on the whole, what the older adults needed at the properties is really consistent with what older adults across the city of Longmont have needed. So I'll tell you the only difference really about when we look at the top 5 needs that brought people in to see a resource specialist. In the broader community, there's a fairly high need for people to have caregiving assistance. Folks who are taking care of a spouse, or kids who are taking care of parents, grandkids who are taking care of parents, neighbors who are taking care of each other. We don't see that need hitting top 5 at the properties. And really there were only 2 properties where Leo did a lot of work around caregiving. It's Aspen Meadows and Spring Creek. Otherwise there were very, very low needs for caregiving. What did hit top 5 at LHA that is a little bit of a lower need for the rest of the community were folks asking about transportation resources. Otherwise, the other kind of top 4 are consistent within the properties and within the bigger community. The number 1 need is folks needing financial assistance. And that is above and beyond multiple times the biggest need outstandingly. The second highest need, both within the communities and without, is housing assistance. So for folks who are living at LHA, this can look like wanting to move to a different property. This can look like trying to get a voucher if they're not a voucher holder. It can be housing retention work to try to keep the housing that they are in if they're having issues with that. And also it can be folks who need a higher level of care, and the resource specialist is working with them at looking for assisted living or skilled nursing. The other big needs that people are seeking assistance around are health and medical needs and nutrition. We are fortunate that a lot of folks who live in low-income housing do qualify, not everybody, but a lot of folks do qualify for long-term care Medicaid, and long-term care Medicaid will pay for things like home care. So Leo can assist people with filling out those applications and navigating the process of getting long-term care Medicaid. And he can also help them navigate other kinds of health and medical needs and resources that they might want to connect with in the community. Big picture, Leo had 520 contacts with 150 individuals across the properties. He saw a range of between, let me look at what our lowest was, 17 people to 29 different people at each property. And those numbers are skewed a little bit. In fact, all of the numbers are skewed just a little bit because our system pulls data by where people are listed at living at a property right now when we pulled the report on Friday. So if somebody lived at Aspen Meadows and they moved to Hearthstone, they're going to show up in the Hearthstone data. If somebody moved from elsewhere in the community into Spring Creek, they're going to show up at Spring Creek even if we saw them mostly out in the community the rest of the year, and vice versa. If somebody moves out of the properties in the community, they're not going to show up in the data. But I think that kind of comes out in the wash to let us know that he's getting good utilization at really all of the properties and is absolutely addressing the kinds of needs that we just see for older adults in Longmont.
Randy, do you mind if either you have it up or if I can share that chart that you emailed me?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want me to do it?
Or I can, I guess. What's easier for you?
I've got it. I'm ready to rock. I'll do it. I'm going to join and share. I'm just going to zoom in as much as I can. So this is just an email, so it's the snapshot of what she pulled out of the larger report, it looks like. But here's how the services look across the board for senior services and where LHA fits in. I'm scrolling up there some more too. Are there any questions for Brandy?
So Brandy, you mentioned nutrition services as being one of them. I know there are people that get Meals on Wheels. Do you have any idea how many? And if they don't get it, is it due to cost or they don't like the food, or do you have any idea?
I don't know. I could ask Meals on Wheels if that's information that y'all are interested in getting feedback in the future about. I can see if they have by property a listing of how many people are working with Meals on Wheels. But I don't, because we have different systems, I just don't have that data specifically myself. I do know, on the whole, we do have a lot of people reject Meals on Wheels without even hearing about it or talking to them. I think there's a little bit of stigma that people have around what it means to get Meals on Wheels. Just like we have people who qualify for home care who will not pursue it. The main reason that I hear about folks not getting Meals on Wheels is because they won't even consider it in the first place. Every once in a while, we do hear about folks who tried Meals on Wheels and didn't like it, or tried Meals on Wheels but had more really specific dietary needs that couldn't be met that way. And in those cases, we do talk with them about other resources. There are other resources. They're generally not as inexpensive as Meals on Wheels, but they're out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, would y'all like me to ask Meals on Wheels for some follow-up and I could send that to Molly?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Brandy, would you say, I'm gonna make a statement based on what I see, and you tell me if you feel like that's correct or not. It feels like because of our dedicated resource in paying for the resource specialists, that LHA seniors, or I should say seniors living in LHA properties have a beeline access to senior services because of that dedicated resource compared to the rest of the community that, I don't want to say they're getting special treatment, but I want to say that us investing in senior services to have Leo is making access to senior services easier for LHA residents compared to if they were not.
Absolutely, yes. So there's a couple of data points that really substantiate what you're talking about there. One is the wait list to see our resource specialist here at the senior center is typically 4 to 6 weeks. There's just such an enormous caseload out in the community, whereas Leo can usually see people in 1 to 2 weeks. He's very accessible that way. The other is if we just look at like service from, I have 2023 data somewhere here on my desk, 1 sec. We did not have a resource specialist much of 2023. We had one for about 3 months. So if you look at the service received at LHA properties in 2023 compared to 2024, in 2023 there were 269 contacts for financial assistance compared to the 447 this year. That number kind of goes back and forth in different categories, but we are not only able to serve a higher volume of people having a resource specialist on site, and I do think that having him on site leads more people to see him because he's accessible and he's visible, and they don't have to travel anywhere to get to him, right? I lost track of what my next sort of train of thought was there, but yes, resoundingly, absolutely, people are utilizing that resource and having better access to that resource at the properties.
Do you find there's still some folks that aren't reaching out or looking for help? Or they keeping quiet?
The question was, do you find that there's still some folks that don't reach out?
Oh, for sure. And I know Leo has introduced himself to a lot of people as they moved in, or people he's met, in conversation or just in the hallway there, and has told them about his services, and they have not reached out or followed up ever again with him, and that's okay. What's really important to us is that people know the resource is there for when they need it. We also have a lot of folks who are very stable at the properties because they have housing secured. That sort of stabilizes a lot of other things in their life, right?
That's right.
So the need may not be as acute for a lot of people.
Any other questions for Brandy?
Thank you for sharing with us.
You're welcome. Thank you all. I honestly don't know what role the board has in supporting LHA having this position, but we have seen this position be just incredibly beneficial to the communities and all of the residents there. And I cannot thank anyone who has a hand in that enough. It's really important.
Thank you, too.
All right, thank you, Brandy.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.
I guess the thing that it has really nothing to do with this actually, is that I still see a lot of wait times for the resource specialists at the centers as compared to we've brought the new ones. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Staff capacity.
Exactly. Okay. Introduce Quincy.
All right, so thanks for Quincy for waiting patiently so Brandy can get to her leadership meeting. Everyone, this is Quincy. He's our new regional property manager. I will let him speak for himself. If you want to give a little bit about your background and how long you've been with us, etc.
So yeah, this is the start of the 5th week. Love it. Everybody here is very welcoming, so I appreciate everybody for that. I'm originally from North Carolina. Moved out here 3 years ago. I've been doing property management for 9 years. Kind of makes me feel like my college degree is a waste of 5 years, but you know, here we are. So yeah, I just thank everybody for welcoming me, for being here. So thank you.
What was your degree?
Business. I played basketball, so if I'm being completely transparent, that's the easiest degree to get and stay eligible. Yeah, true. You know, so yeah.
I had a biology background in the
You know, that's how it typically goes. Yeah, yeah. I went to a 2-year college and then got a scholarship to a 4-year, and then I finished out there in Asheville, North Carolina, where it flooded really bad not too long ago. Yeah, so.
How long have you been in Colorado?
3 years.
In Longmont?
I live in Denver now.
Oh, okay.
I still live in Denver. I am moving to Thornton in March because that drive is a blood pressure.
And Thornton's just where Clears and Fog.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It is. It's so much easier to drive as soon as you pass exit like 225. And yeah, so yeah.
104.
Yeah.
So you had, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask.
Be prompted.
No, I was just gonna ask, what are your impressions? Just like, I'm sure it's a ton all at once and getting more properties, so
well,
5 weeks in, big concerns, stuff done
Yeah,
out.
no. One, I want to tip my hat off to Ms. Lauren here. She has been doing a lot, and coming in and taking up the position. I see why she was so overwhelmed at one point, but now she's going to therapy. Life is so much better for her.
Balance. Work-life balance.
Right.
We're getting there.
Yeah, but no, I think my impression is I understand where it was back in, correct me if I'm wrong, 2020.
2018, 2019,
Yeah, where it was, and I understand it was a big transition to get to where they're at now, but I feel as if a lot of things are very organized. I understand, property management, you can have some ups and downs as far as, staff and just, getting paperwork and stuff turned in, but we are here to, make that a little bit easier for everybody as well. But I just think it's an overall good company. I like the energy here more than anything. Everybody seems to be happy to be here, so it makes me happy to come into work and, we can just leave, whatever we can leave at home, and come do what we need to do here. So if that answers your question, yeah, I just appreciate everybody. So yeah.
What kind of properties have you managed in the past?
I've done everything but student housing. I've never gotten to student housing just because I never had the opportunity to, but low income, Section 8 has been my thing. I am amazing at recertifications, and if I'm not amazing at anything else, it's just that. So we're getting that cleared up at the properties now, so I'm stepping in and actually helping do that there. It's just been a learning process. The laws change every single year for everything, so constantly challenge yourself to see if you can keep up. I feel like I've done a fairly good job of keeping up to being here. So yeah.
So some of our seniors can be a little bit aggressive and pushy, I realize.
Where do I know you from? Where have I seen you at before?
Down at Village on Main
Yes.
with the bus the other day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
He was kind enough to open the door for us. Yeah. What are you finding that the things are that they're concerned about?
Consistency in the office. That is the biggest thing. That's where I'm pretty much stationed out of now.
Is Village on Main?
Well, yeah, I because we need to pick up the pace there with all the admin work. Yeah. So I'm just there helping out. I see that consistency there is one thing that they're, and that's really it. I think that everybody else understands the whole remodel, resyndication. They had to move out. They get that that happened. But I think that them seeing our face more on the property makes them feel a little bit more secure and happy and just, they know somebody's there to help them with their issues at that specific property. I think the Owen is a great property. Once I finish sprinkling my magic over there, I think it's going to be phenomenal. But for the resident side of things, just them seeing us, that's it.
So Quincy's referring to, when the rehab was complete and the resyndication of the tax credits is all happening in the background now of the paperwork and financial side, we had a big effort to get everybody's leases and paperwork all in order because we have monitorings coming up from the funding agencies and the investor and that type of thing. So there's been a big push over there the last couple of months really to get everything ready to rock for that. And so there's been a lot of resident engagement, making sure we got the appointment set up and signatures and all
And they
of the
appreciate
documentation.
They genuinely appreciate that. Even if they've done it several times, they're just glad to know that things are getting done. So, the OM is not a bad property at all. At all. It's beautiful. The remodel went very well. So, yeah.
They actually have nice places, I think. They do. It's a little bit of a change for them, but they're nice.
They're very nice, yeah. I genuinely like it over there. And then the office area is very welcoming with the big window there. We keep it open now so everybody can see us and come in and talk to us whenever they like. So, yeah.
Do you mind giving a quick blurb about yourselves for Quincy's knowledge so he knows who he's talking to? I think that would be helpful sometimes, especially with Amy coming in too to help for Erica anytime we have new staff. So you want to start?
No, okay. I'm Glenn.
Hi, Glenn.
My background's actually IT.
Okay.
So I just, everything I know about housing I've learned in the last year
Gotcha.
in this committee.
Yeah. It's easy to steal reps when you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Glenn volunteers as a mediator for evictions.
Okay.
And that's how we first got to know him. And then he got on this advisory board as well.
Okay.
So he's been community engaged. I'm talking for you. You can tell me I'm wrong if you want. Engaged in the community on housing for some time.
We still come to you for mediation?
No, I'm not allowed to do mediation for the housing authorities until my board.
Gotcha.
But we don't have that many evictions.
No.
One every so often.
Yeah.
And more than I,
Yeah.
more
We
than
did
I like.
beforehand.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
been pretty quiet the last 6 or 8 months.
Yeah, we want to keep it that way. Yeah, we're going to strive
But the
to.
eviction laws have been changing quite a bit.
They change every year. I feel like they change every 6 months, but yeah.
They do now.
Yeah.
They didn't used to. And it creates a lot of anxiety.
They switched to, they're very pro-tenant, what I've realized out in Denver, which is fine, right? We don't want to ever evict anybody, but we do have to hold people accountable. And hopefully that's a message that we can relay to the residents and not go off the deep end. So,
Yeah, we could have a long conversation.
very long, yeah.
But actually, most of the ones I see, it's in the last 2 years, it's been mostly money.
It's money, yeah. I mean,
People just don't have money.
and off of your knowledge, just from, being in the position, do you know that there's still a lot of funding? Because I know I can find, when I was in Denver, I could find funding very quickly. I don't know how that transitions along.
There's funding. It continually gets more difficult to process to
To
go through the paperwork. The problem most people have is they wait till the last minute to panic, and then it's too late to get anything done in time to get through. But Boulder County is pretty progressive in terms of we've been doing mediation for 30 years, and it's mandatory when you get to court. The judges make you go to mediation
Yeah.
right there on the spot.
Like at the courts, yeah, they'll send you out to go to the mediator's office and do that. And
Well, there's no office. We go out in the hallway.
Well, yeah, wherever, yeah.
But Boulder County is probably pretty progressive compared to a lot of counties. Judges bend over backwards to make sure everybody's fair.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, people are paying $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 for rent. That's all I can
It's absurd, yeah. Yeah, yesterday I had to turn somebody down. Couldn't find anywhere for him. He just didn't make 2 times the rent, but everything else lined up perfectly. But, I told him, he said I can find a way, but I personally can't put you in that position knowing that you're not gonna be able to pay the rent. And even if you do pay the rent, you're not gonna have money for anything else. Yeah, so
Yeah, but I tell people all the time, the first thing you pay is your rent.
first thing.
Nothing else matters. You can
First
get Meals on Wheels, you can get, charities, you can get a lot of things. But if you don't have a place to live, you're sleeping under a bush.
And it's cold in Colorado too, so yeah, we gotta be sure the rent's.
Anyway,
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I'm Melissa Berry, I'm a city planner with the city of Longmont.
So how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah.
It's not as interesting as Glenn, but
I'm Marlene Zertman. I've been on the advisory board for, it's like about 4 or 5 years now. Started in COVID when we were on Zoom, so it's been kind of nice. There's been a lot happening, a lot going on.
Absolutely.
So I think it's great that the city of Longmont is actually taking care of people and concerned about people, despite what they say in the Times Call all the time. But anyway, so that's where I am.
I'm Carrie Snow. My background is legal-based. I was a prosecutor for years, so I'm always interested to hear what Sarah has to say. Always a highlight of these meetings. And then I did private work and construction defect, contract review, insurance coverage stuff. So that's my background. I've been on the board for 2 years, and I'm also fairly new to Colorado, about 5.5 years now. So I guess my main perspective on this is I'm just consistently wowed coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico, where there were a lot of problems. Just how, just amazingly well the city does tackling so much of this stuff. So I just wanted to come and be part of that.
I'm Jenna Reed, and my background is social work, but currently my husband and I own 25 doors of rental property here in town, and I manage all of that.
So you deal with it yourself?
All of it.
Yeah. Do you guys have any low income, or is it just regular?
So we fall into that naturally affordable space.
Okay.
My friends will say, like, the slumlord space, but our properties are nice.
Yeah.
but that's not the case. So we manage, I manage all of the properties and have for 15, and we've been doing it for almost 20 years, but over that time we've accumulated more.
Yeah.
You have some voucher holders, right?
I do. Currently I have 3. I have 3.
And you do all that process yourself? Oh, wow. Not bad.
and she's worked with me for many, many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a little 8-unit apartment building, and it's been part of the crime-free. All of my properties, minus a couple of single families, are part of the crime-free program. I've had them since almost So yeah,
Love that.
that's what I do.
Well, nice to meet all of you. Thank you for that.
And Josh is not here. He works with
A&B
Bank, and got promoted recently to a hotshot big man on campus job. But he has an executive leadership meeting at the same time. So he tries to attend both.
I haven't met him before.
No.
They do a lot of light tech and just work in the space.
So we have one open position that we will be recruiting for this year, so I guess on board with everybody then. Anything else you want to add?
No? Good. Everything. I'm pretty sure we'll have conversation in the future about, whatever comes up. And you'll always see me over at BOM, so feel free to come bother me whenever. Always welcome.
May not want to.
The door's already open, so come on, yeah.
You have the code.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I couldn't get in last time with the code, so, whatever.
Well, it changed, and I'll give you the one. I got you.
I know you guys are keeping me out.
Me out too. I don't know. I can't have to text somebody.
Don't say it.
Like, how? You're on a public, it's a public meeting.
Yeah, we're not doing
We're going
that.
to change it again.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about this next item, which I've made some notes so I don't go off base here. First off, and Melissa, this is for you. When I sent the email out, I read that, I bet you 5 times to make sure there were no errors in it. There's an error in it. Did you catch it?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay, all right.
Emails that there are more than like 3 sentences.
Yeah. So, all of you know that I did check that, but, I have this problem with reading my own emails, or whatever.
I skip words when I proofread. I see it in my head, but I
Yeah.
don't type it.
Or I see the word that it's supposed to be, and it's something totally scribbled up
It's
different.
hard to do your own.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what happens, so.
Reading it out
But when you go
loud.
back to it, you're
Yeah.
like,
And I thought, I sent that out, and somebody's gonna catch that. Oh, well, anyway. So what happened was somebody had asked if maybe we could take a look at changing the meeting. And so a couple of things came to mind. One of them being, I wasn't quite sure if we could, if it was set in stone, that had to be at this particular day and this particular time. And so I did inquire about that. Can we change it? And the answer is yes, we can change it if we want to. So I met with Lauren and we went through what days might work best. And one of the days that had been suggested was Friday. And Friday is not a day that's going to work really very well for staff as well as some board members. So we decided that was not a good day. Can we still keep it on Tuesday? If that's what everybody prefers, we can do that. But there's the option now of do we want to do Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday would be probably in the afternoons or at least after 11 o'clock. And then Thursday could be either Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon. And so what I wanted to do was just kind of send the email out to all of you guys and say, what do you think? Yes, we want to keep it on the second week because the following week, unless that has changed with council, is when the board of commissioners meet. So if there's anything that comes to us prior to that says, look at this and maybe you have some suggestions, it can be handled before they meet with the board of commissioners. So either Wednesday or Thursday of the second week would work that way, better for city staff. I would like to see us still stay on 2 hours. And the reason why, if we get out early, we get out early. There's not a problem with that. But I think we've got things coming up in the future that may take a lot longer. The discussion coming from city staff or even from us that might warrant 2 hours. So again, I know we changed to 90 minutes, but that's just my suggestion. So whatever you guys think. So what I would like to do is just ask each of you to give me some feedback here, and we'll figure it out from there. As far as I am concerned, I'm flexible. However, everybody decides is going to work best for them. So
Have you spoken to Josh at all? Because it seems
Yes,
like his schedule's
Yes.
significant problems there.
Josh has been spoken with.
So
yes.
does he have, I just don't want us all to do this in a month or two again. So
I agree.
is there a time that he said would work best for him
Yes,
out of the
ma'am.
ones? Oh, great, what is it?
That's why we're at.
Oh, no, he can do any of those times?
So he can do Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh, okay, but not Tuesday. Like Tuesday in the afternoon would be bad for
Tuesday,
him?
well, he didn't say you could do Tuesday in the afternoon. He just said
Gotcha.
Wednesday and Thursday, and he specified it by after 11 on Wednesday and all day on Thursday.
Okay,
He actually is really free on Friday, but that's not a day that works out really well for him.
gotcha, okay.
So, and he knows that. He knows that Friday's not gonna work. So, yes.
Okay.
I would suggest, because there's a lot of schedules to work around, Harold's is one of them. Asking Josh if a later time on Tuesdays work. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to find a window that works I'm just not speaking for the staff side. I know that there's 6 other people also to look at, but Thursdays, there's just, staff has ongoing meetings that will fall every other time over this. Harold specifically, he's got commitments that he cannot move on Thursday mornings at 11, afternoons, I'm not able to come in on Wednesdays, and I really would like to be here for this and not remote. I feel like we already, like if we wiggled in a window on Tuesdays, if there is a way to keep it Tuesdays but adjust the time, I feel like on the staff side, that's going to be most possible.
Lauren, do you want to address Harold?
Harold did mention that he wouldn't mind if it wasn't on Tuesdays, just because of it's an all-day affair with him on Tuesdays because of the student staff and stuff, board meetings and council meetings. But to Molly's point, there's so many schedules on the staff side, and there's even like Tuesday afternoons would be hard to get to move our LJ staff meeting if we have coffee conversations scheduled.
I'm wondering to look at Tuesdays starting at more like 10 to 12.
He said, if Josh wants to stay on, and I wasn't going to bring up that's how it all started, but he said it would have to be after 11 because he's got pretty much more than covered with meetings. And his new position, I believe, is Chief Financial Officer, but we cannot always accommodate or change based on situations, so that's why it's open to everybody.
The only conflict I have is on Wednesday, they have Wednesday at 6, so it starts out, but we head up Sunday.
Wednesday works for me. Thursday.
What Thursdays are not work?
I should say Tuesday and Wednesday. Except I run the same problem you guys do, which is the coffee conversation. But they're only once a quarter anyway, except for
Sweets and Zinnia are every month.
So I can do Tuesday or Wednesday, but I mean, I think Molly's invaluable to have here. If you can't do Wednesdays, then I don't want to do Wednesdays.
I can't remote, but that's not really ideal when I'm
Yeah.
trying to help run the meeting.
Right, no, I just, and with other staff conflicts, and yeah, I'm just gonna defer to your guys' schedule.
Let me have a conversation with Harold as well. Let me see. I'm gonna chat with him. So, if there was movement on Tuesdays, it'd be post 11 a.m. Is there any afternoon restrictions for folks?
Well, or we could keep it all at Tuesday mornings. I mean, that still is an option because we're all involved in that now. If that's an option, it may mean that we lose a board member, but
If we moved it to the same Tuesday, second week, so the same day, we have our LHA staff meeting at 3 p.m.
We could move
We
that
could
if we
move
need
that.
to.
To another day to accommodate an afternoon meeting.
Maybe do you have Harold's schedule handy? Or you could look at his Tuesday afternoons just to see what is ongoing on the second Tuesdays, if anything. I know that come the end of the day, he's usually prepping for council time at the end of the day, which is why often he doesn't make it to our staff meeting.
Yeah, I kind of go along with something that Arlene said. In my history, moving meetings around to accommodate individuals is a never-ending cycle. Once you do it, it's hard not to do it. And the fact is, if you get this many people together, everybody's already set up their days and their schedules.
Yeah, and some of the meetings aren't our choice.
So he's pretty open on Tuesdays. I can really move these whenever, as long as we have enough time that it doesn't interrupt any other.
Right, well, and we can chat with him. I just wanted to see if there's anything standing.
No, right now.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the schedule.
But how about earlier?
That was my question. Well, I don't know what time Josh was going to start. Do you?
I don't, but I know it goes usually until 11, so I'm thinking it's probably about 9. Because we were asked, to move it to 9:30. Which doesn't work either.
Earlier, I thought.
I only remember 9 being the one previous. It might, I don't remember.
I thought we moved it to 9 to accommodate the other gentleman.
9:30. To accommodate Josh.
No, the other guy before who did the financial stuff. He had like 5 kids, I can't remember his name.
Which one was it then?
Tom. No, he always came at 9. It was Josh.
Okay.
But I don't care if we stay at this particular time and bump it back to 9 to 11. Whatever works.
So 9 to 11, 1 to 3. I'm throwing out these, somebody stop me. 8 to 10. Child drop off at 8 o'clock is hard, just FYI, until I've got.
8 o'clock meetings.
Yeah.
Whew, that's-
I'm with you on that.
Well, the other thing is, would you think of something like 11 to 1? I mean, that's kind of a strange time too, but,
That's during lunch.
well, you could bring us lunch.
I'll bring my dogs. I'll bring my dogs and they can hang out walking around.
I like that.
Yeah.
Dog sounds like better.
So it sounds like you have maybe 2 windows to talk to Josh about and to talk to Harold about.
So we have Tuesday afternoon for Josh.
3,
Don't
9 to
get in
11.
the way of that.
Or
Conversation.
Wednesday.
Not on the second Tuesday,
Not on this particular.
not on this particular Tuesday.
I think Wednesday, I don't know, I mean, from the things I wrote down, the same thing Wednesday and Thursday is out because Molly, it's nice to have you here. And, yeah,
This is our coffee conversation this afternoon.
they canceled that.
Got rescheduled.
You got rescheduled.
Sure. That's it. Okay. Your 2 weddings?
Yeah, it's the 27th. But after that, then it's gonna be on the afternoons. Correct? After this month, Hearthstone Lodge will continue to be in the afternoons on Tuesday
At 2.
at 2. So, yeah, I mean, it almost looks like
We just
we have to stay here. Please, I know Lauren just.
I can't make the decision.
It's the board's decision. But we should check with, I would suggest checking Josh and checking Harold with Harold. I just had a thought, what was it?
I would move if it's meeting for everybody, but I don't want to do that.
So maybe do a motion to table this until the next meeting, is that correct?
Yeah.
And then we'll reach out to Josh and come back next, if that works for you, Aaron.
Yeah, I think let's do that. Okay. So then I just need a motion here.
I think we should table it till our next meeting in February.
The coffee and conversations at Hearthstone Lodge will be well, that's just a one-off, we reschedule for this month, but going forward to April, the second, third, and fourth quarter, it's at 1 o'clock. So,
Which means the 1 to 3 is if anybody wanted to attend.
Yeah.
Now that that one's a quarter, it's a little bit easier to attend, I think.
and you would just miss this meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk to Josh and Harold. Try to wrap it up before the next meeting.
Well, we just had a motion to
Oh,
table
sorry.
it until the next
Never mind.
meeting. Was there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, Jen, okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll table that until next month. In the meantime, I'll get back in touch with Josh and you guys will get in touch with Harold and we'll touch base and go from there. We'll let you guys know if there's anything spectacular happening. Okay. All right, development of project updates.
So I'm gonna start today just giving you an introduction to something that is coming down the pike here soon. On the city side of things, the housing group has been working on a 185 unit homeownership project that's deed restricted, 55 units deed restricted to those earning 80% AMI and below, and the remainder 130 units restricted for middle income up to 120% AMI. We've been working on this for years, and the first phase of 52 units has begun construction. And then the developer is working with a sales and marketing team, and they plan on opening a portal to accept applications essentially to get in April. We're going to be presenting to city staff on January 23rd because the city invested heavily in the project to help homeownership opportunities for its employees too, because so many city employees most city employees now live outside city limits because they can't afford to live here, and that affects things like response times and water operations and all of that type of thing. So as part of the city's investment, 24 of the 185 get a preference for city employees. That may be a flood of people and they go in the first round. It might be peppered throughout. The 4 phases of the project will be under construction in the next several years. It depends on how fast they sell them. It'll move quicker if they're in high demand. It'll pace out if not. But income restricted housing for homeownership means on the affordable side that this is really long-term housing stability. You're not subject to rent increases. It is a permanent deed restriction, so you would, if you want to get out, you would sell and have to sell it within our sales price maximums to keep that benefit rolling along. Our middle income program is really unique. We put a lot of effort into putting it together because it's not necessarily a ton of examples out there of how to do this, but it's intended for those that are looking for an entry into the market that wouldn't be able to otherwise. So it's a shorter deed restriction. It's 10 years on a rolling basis, meaning if you stay for 10 years, you can walk with all your proceeds. If you want to sell and exit before the 10 years are up, then your deed restriction resets for the next buyer for 10 years to help more people get in. So it's kind of a balance of, we want you to be able to enter the market and then, I should say, get this in for those that can't compete in the market to be able to compete in the market later, but also make sure that city investment rolls along and helps as many people as possible. So this first phase, I think we have 10 units that are permanently deed restricted affordable, and then the rest, 42, are that middle income range. So we're starting a marketing effort here at the end of the month to start getting word out to try and get people primed and ready to put their applications in. So we would like to, the reason we're bringing it to this group is the ideal is if some of our residents in LHA properties have been stable for a period of time, maybe their income has risen periodically over time. If they are looking for a homeownership opportunity, this is probably the best bet they have. So something that we have talked about is when we do coffee and conversations in the next couple of months, letting people know about this. It might not be that many people that are ready, but we definitely want to at least get the word out so they have an opportunity. If they are ready, they can work with our personal finance coaching program that the city pays Boulder County to administer for Longmont residents to help get them ready for that April timeline. The reason I want to bring it to this group is we like your ideas on how should we approach our residents for this? What do you think might be helpful? Just really trying to just brainstorm what might be good to start spreading the word about this.
So this is the property that's going to be over by Costco, is that
Yep,
correct?
that's right below Costco.
Could you describe it a little bit? Just
Sure. So I encourage you all to go to the website that is brand new. Let me pull it up real quick, make sure we can find it easily. Okay, so if you just Google True North Longmont, and it is truenorthlongmont.com. I'll share. Let me share here.
I was curious if it's a mix of units, all one unit.
I'll show you. This would be a more fun way to do this anyway, so we'll look at the pictures. Maximize the page anyway. I don't know. So this is their marketing. This is what happens when you can really afford to hire a true marketing firm for something that is somewhat municipal involved. It looks really great. So this is about Longmont. And then we have, here we go. Got floor plans. So really, we have a mix of types. They are either standalone units or townhomes, 2 or 3 bedrooms. Some have garages, some do not. I'll try and find the site plan to show as well. But the point of this developer, he really wanted to, he's done work in the area. He's who Erie used. It's the Vertical, who is the group that is working with Erie to do, it's all middle income. They're doing something similar in Erie. We started working with them first, we were gonna be the first, but then their project is smaller and a little bit more straightforward than ours, so they ended up going first.
And is it a mix or is it just 100%?
In Erie, it's up to 120. The whole thing is just 120 and below. It's not really split out. But for ours, there are 55 below 80 and 130 between 80 and 120.
But there's no other component. That's a market.
Right, no market. It is surrounded by market. And amazingly, when we did public meetings for the neighborhood, and everyone was like, great. So this was originally zoned, the land was originally zoned for apartments, high density. And when this came through, we were like, we do need the units in town, but also home ownership opportunities for income restricted folks is so low that's worth it. And so we did a zoning change.
How big is a standalone detached? Are those like cottages or the?
Let me just show you some examples. So here's one.
You finally said.
This is one, so the range. So there are some that are like smaller, 894. There are some here we're getting to 1100 with 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I think I've seen some of this.
And then here's a 1300 3-bed. So we were trying to get a mix.
Average size vacuum.
Yeah. It's using the new urbanism model. So it is, tighter lots. It's trying to be, it's not trying to be anything. It's trying to be itself. However, prospect without the price tag is the idea. Walkable neighborhoods,
still
for engagement, porch engagements with neighbors. They're not just hiding inside. And so what they really wanted to do, this developer, they're trying to solve this niche problem that nobody can solve, which is how do you get entry-level housing for homeownership, but also afford to actually build it, which is one reason why the city changed their land development code to create an urban-based code. It's all modeled off of this project. We had made a new fee waiver program for developers for middle income. We've done so much as a city to using this project as the Kickstarter and try and spread that around. So their idea of the developer is they don't want anything. They want it to be indistinguishable, of course. That's something we all want for affordable housing, is look like market rate, but still be able to actually afford to build it. So these are getting manufactured in Nebraska and assembled on site, which is really cool. So
Is this land ownership part of it, or?
Yep. It's not a land trust. It would be individually deeded lots.
So how does this work? When normally you have a real estate agent for the seller and a real estate agent for the buyer. This is an application, so how does it actually work?
So we're gonna have, there's a sales team, just as if a builder was marketing a new neighborhood for a new build. They have their sales team. You can come with your own real estate agent if you so choose. There's a set of preferred lenders that would offer advantageous financing. You can always get your own lender, but we have those options available. So we've been doing engagement in the community with lenders and
Would the sellers pay the buyer's realty fee, since that's just changed in the last year?
you know, that's down the road in the next phase. Can't answer to that off the top of my head. It's not in our deed restriction that they would have to specifically. That's a good question for later.
So-
We haven't gotten that far down the road yet.
Christy and I had kind of started reaching out to land title at one point when we were at PCHA to start a conversation about how do we get banks, well, banks are already involved, they're wanting to do the lending on affordable and attainable housing, but how do we reduce the closing costs and fees on the like realtor side and also title companies, because you might have enough money for a down payment, but your entire cash amount goes to closing fees, not the down payment, which then raises your monthly mortgage. So that's a longer conversation, but I think that there's a lot of interest in how do we structure that, but we're not sure yet.
We're working with some banks locally, and the sales team is trying to work on fees on their side as well. We can't always control if somebody brings in their own real estate agent, we can't control what they do, but there's a lot going into that. And it's like go time, the next 3 months to get all of the process finalized for how we've already got an idea, but really fine tune. What does our application process look like? How do we streamline that? How do we play in, we've got down payment assistance programs that we want to bring in to assist. The city's always had our existing program, which comes from federal home funds, which is a pretty restricted program. We only have so much available. So council agreed last year to put $250,000 into a pilot program for a locally funded down payment assistance that's a little less restrictive, and we can use more for this, market it for this for sure. It's able to be used anywhere citywide, but use it for this as much as possible. We just put in an application to the state for Prop 123 funds to expand that for middle income. I mean, we've got a lot of not feet in the fire. Fire to the fire, thank you. That's feet in the fire, that's like the opposite.
Got a lot of spoons in the bowl.
Yes, we're just working this from a lot of angles. So anyways, what we want to do, because that's the ideal, whether we have any households living with us that are ready for this, I want to at least give them a good opportunity and help them get their ducks in a row to be able to submit and get, because we do have preferences. So we've got preference for the city employees. If they all come in, all 24 of them come in, then they're in. And then we also have, if you have to either work in Longmont, to be moving to Longmont for work, or have worked in Longmont and are now retired or disabled and can't work, for fair housing reasons. But it's supposed to be like Longmont invested in this. We want to help our people that are here already, or those that are moving here to help, boost our economy and everything. So with that in mind, if we have residents that are interested in looking at this, we've got resources for financial counseling to see if they're ready, to make sure that they would be entering into a healthy financial situation. We can get those ducks rolling if we have people that are ready and interested.
So are they going to be in the same class as the city employees, or are they going to be competing for the same property?
It would be, so it's not competing for the same property, it's more like there will be an opening day, and if you have your paperwork and you submit it, and it's a first come, first serve as long as you can check off one of those preferences. And if you don't check off the preference, you're at the bottom of the list. These people would check off a preference if they live and work in Longmont already, or are disabled in return. And so, but then it's a first come, first serve into the portal. And then if you get that preference, you stay at the top. And if you don't meet the preference, you come to the bottom. That doesn't mean we don't make it there. We might make it there depending on how much demand there is. And that might also mean that they don't get one in this first phase, maybe it's a later phase, but they stay on the list and continue to keep their application active.
So Molly, I believe that you and Harold addressed this like a few months ago. Is this the same developer that had a lot of success in Louisville doing things there and then was looking at us in Erie? Or am I remembering that incorrectly?
He's definitely done market rate stuff in Louisville and
Okay.
elsewhere,
But
well,
market,
Westminster.
okay,
Mhm.
gotcha.
Vertical with a K.
Oh.
He lives in, the head of the company, lives in Louisville, who we work with primarily.
Okay.
So,
So you asked how to present this to the residents?
yeah, just brainstorm ideas.
You know, I think the thing that I have seen in conversations with residents is that it needs to be real well planned out and real well said, and so that they understand it really well. But I think there would be some interested in it. You've got the neighborhood, Aspen Meadows neighborhood, that people there I think would maybe be interested in it. You've got some of the other places that they might be interested. It's just, as long as it's very factual and the way you really kind of said to us, that would, they'll get it.
Then we can always meet with people after the fact if they come, if they say they're interested, we can give them a lot more information.
And are we focusing on just HA residents or beyond that?
We could, voucher holders, we don't send out like a newsletter. This is something we want to do, is send out a newsletter to voucher holders. We don't have that yet. But that is certainly something we could put out there. We just have to figure out how. That's how we do it.
You know, but they had that neighborhood liaison that meets with different neighborhoods and we know where, you know, census, or, you know, if there's like, you know, target people in that neighborhood that qualify.
Right.
We just have
On the city side, we're doing a lot. I think it's gonna go into the city line that gets mailed with utility bills. There'll be a broader marketing effort to the whole Longmont community there.
Okay.
Just one of the goals of LHA was if there are people ready for home ownership, we know who to talk to.
Yeah.
Let's get them connected.
Maybe get it just some, for our residents, like in coffee and conversations, just getting them something on paper to come back to.
One pager.
Yeah, something, I mean, nothing super complicated with the website and just explaining if we don't do any details, that there will be financial, you know, consulting available through Boulder County or whatever. Just because I just psychologically, it's such an overwhelming process. I mean, it's buying a house is hard, right? And I think maybe if they have something physical to come back to, it won't be like a wash over them, and then they think, well, this would never apply to me. So that's the only thing I can think of.
And I agree with your details because it was like, sorry. Quincy said, let's not get them excited.
Yeah.
And we can target it too. We can say it's a mixed income neighborhood. If you're in our LHA properties, then most likely you're looking at this fraction of them. That's not the way of them.
Affordable.
Right.
How much is the price point? It's
it's still to be finalized, but I can give you the maximum that it could be, which they are targeting lower than the maximum. This was just a cushion, just in case things went to hell, which they're not. So let me pull that up while you consider, keep discussion.
Do they have to go to housing counseling? No
Yes.
matter what?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would suggest, just from my own experience, and I haven't done it since 2014, because that's when I owned the affordable housing unit. I think it would be really important to explain to people that just because you own up, like just because you can pay the mortgage doesn't mean you're set. You have to have money for appliances, the roof, leaks. And some stuff will be covered under warranty with the contractor, but after a year, even when you have an extended home warranty covering these things, you know, it's not often free. If you're gonna own the land, then you own the sewer pipes, and you have to fix that stuff. If your meter breaks, you have to fix that. There's no more calling the landlord and saying, you gotta fix this for me.
Brand new homes.
Yeah, and it's something to consider when you're a renter. renting, and I hate that people frame renting as like beneath home ownership, because sometimes renting is actually better for a family. Because they aren't tied down, they don't have those overhead costs, they don't have to budget all that extra stuff. So I think being really honest and transparent in our trainings, and I'm sure the county does this, but about the financial impacts of home ownership would be good, because like, you have a hailstorm and you have to make a claim on your insurance, you have a deductible to pay. So it's more than just making the monthly mortgage and taxes and insurance.
I'm confident that Boulder County's program definitely goes through the ins and outs of that, because they're trying to get them ready to understand like what happens. Okay, so just to give an idea, the 2024 sales price maximums, which update each year in May. So these homes that will be ready for move-in more like October, or at least the first ones, are probably under this 2025. So it's not exact, but just to get a gauge. A 2-bedroom townhome maximum sales price is $317,000. 2-bedroom, I know, back when I bought my first house in only 2017, and this is like, feels like longer than that, but this is backing into making sure that they're not paying more than 33% of their income on their house payment. It takes into account interest rates and HOAs and all of that stuff. The maximum for the permanently affordable for a 2-bedroom detached is $364. Max affordable 3-bedroom attached, $353. Max affordable 3-bedroom detached, $406. And these houses cost more than that to build. So you know, the city invested a lot of money to make this happen and bring those prices down.
It's just the most, that's all.
And again, they are targeting right now lower than those maximums.
Of course.
But that is to still obtain like the incentives that they got from the city, that's pretty helpful too.
Yeah, I bought a house in Longmont at $394 in 2018. And, in 2018. And my monthly with taxes and insurance was $2,900. So, I mean, for someone paying rent, middle income, now you own a home, which is nice.
No,
Now I'm paying a lot more than that.
It's just philosophical, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you've hired a contractor lately, our handyman will be $50 an hour. Hire an HVAC guy, it's $150 an hour. That just is.
I know.
Right?
Eggs are $10.99.
I know.
Some chickens.
That's true.
That's what every house wants with a chicken coop in the back, like
That's where So, sidebar and eggs, we told Harold yesterday, it was active. So, Colorado just passed a law that any eggs that are distributed to Colorado or basically sent to the grocery stores have to be cage free. So, hence the $10.99.
Well, I just heard there's another round of bird flu in China. So that's on the news yesterday morning.
Sorry.
There
There are already cases there,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of.
People are dying from it here.
So I heard a 1-pager highlighting financial counseling, giving good information, and copying conversations.
Maybe like what to expect when the time comes checklist.
We don't have that yet, but if you can start figuring that out.
Well, even if we don't know 100% like what they need to be doing, they need to be, filing their taxes.
Collecting.
They need to be.
And financial counseling goes over
Yeah.
all of that. Like, don't buy a couch when you're under contract. All like everything.
Don't go open up 5 new credit cards.
Yeah, that's what financial counseling is.
But I mean, if they're not gonna take that until like 3 weeks before they apply, I think they should take it now. If they're interested.
No, that is the idea. Like, get in, because then you have to get all your ducks in a row in your paperwork. Okay. And then I think we have, if people are interested, we refer to Christy's team, like for like a meeting, you know?
At least they've been kind of through it, you know, getting the paperwork together.
Yeah.
So this is just the,
I don't know,
A
my
step.
first time and even the second time buying a house was daunting.
yeah.
Third time, I was like, oh, this is
Third time.
but first and second time, and then qualifying for affordable, the city of Boulder, death by 1,000 paper cuts, so.
Yeah.
and they're used to getting the paperwork, but. The other thing is, when you're low income, there's some fear or sense of going to a bank, asking for a loan, you know, that we have to remember, like, everyone comes from a different experience and a different lens than we do. So for people who may have grown up in a generational poverty, all of this might be completely foreign to them, because we have clients who don't have bank accounts.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that in mind.
Which is why we've got the sales team locked and loaded to be the starting point, and then they point them in the directions they need to go.
Making sure to treat everyone with kindness and dignity.
Absolutely. Any other ideas for how to engage residents?
If you're pretty straightforward, they'll get it, and if they're interested, they will get in touch.
Do you think there'll be a lot of seniors who are interested?
So many of the seniors are single.
But they might want to combine households with kids.
Yeah.
You know,
I
multi-generational households are a trend.
Yeah, there you go. Some of them have already owned places and of course sold them and then moved into this. So they would have some sort of idea of what is involved.
I don't think the seniors will.
We can still present it.
Yeah,
And
for
see
sure.
if anyone comes forward
For
with
sure.
interest.
Yeah.
I think they like having the convenience of having what they have where they have it. I don't think that they want to go through
I somehow convinced my mom to move in with me so I could subsidize my childcare. Because it was either pay for childcare or pay for a mortgage.
Yeah.
So, you never know.
That's
The idea is the opportunity that we are trying to open up at least.
So I guess my thinking is when you do decide to talk to Aspen Meadows, see if you can get neighborhood over there to that meeting as well.
Yeah.
Because that's where you may see some people that would be interested.
We might even just have our own separate
Yeah.
meetings.
I'm gonna start.
They're not usually included in the
They have come a few times, some of them, but
I'm gonna start pushing for more people to be at these coffee conversations. Because I went to one at senior, Aspen Meadows Senior. Wasn't that many.
so part of that is because when they first started these, it was right after the city took over, so there were lots and lots of questions. That has kind of died down. Plus, they're asking the same questions time after time. So now that it's going to quarterly,
more people that
that's,
show up.
there should be more people there. Yeah.
Because now they won't get to go again until April.
True.
So they'll have all their questions.
So you can't ask the same question each time, how come the toilet isn't working? You know, it's like, yeah, you've got 3 months to think about something, so. Anyway, anything else, Norma?
Let me just show you the site plan here.
That's a good one.
This little window is, and it's on a delay. It's like trying to think about where.
Are we having childcare or anything like that down there?
No, there's no commercial. There's a couple places around there, but no, there's no commercial in this. It's only zoned residential anyway. But there's a lot of commercial development happening up on the north end by Costco. And there is a childcare center in the Harvest Junction area. And then I think TLC is trying to go in on the east side as well. So here's what it looks like. I'm gonna just do the menu for you here, the legend. So the purple ones are our miniest lots. They are attached product. We did on the left side, so there's existing single-family residential over here, market. So we kept some of our larger lots on this side as a buffer, just to make sure we have good transition and also to make it through the planning process without that group being super combative. And then we've got, these are detached here. See, which ones are there attached? It's mixed throughout. These ones are row houses. All the blue is a row townhome product. Right here.
And the purple's like duplexes or
They're townhomes. They're just, wait, let me see. I might be wrong on that one. No, I think those are detached but mini. And so this is the first phase that's going in, and this is really because they're just trying to manage egress routes. Phase 1 is what's under construction right now, and then I think we haven't totally decided. I can't remember which one is phase 2, if it's this pocket or this pocket. So if all the city employees take their opportunity, they're all going to be next door neighbors.
I've actually heard a lot of the city employees put in.
Yeah,
they're
getting ready.
That's
So,
good.
Okay.
So, I don't want to just rush us along here, but we're getting close here. Items for input to the Board of Commissioners, is there anything?
No, because the board, just in January, the board meeting actually was before this meeting, and it was pretty straightforward. We just went over bad debt policy from a prior year. We did an IGA, put in place an IGA policy that matches the cities, just to minimize the small stuff that comes to the board for approval. So we don't have anything today, but that will come on your February meeting.
Okay. Resident quality of life?
Nothing from the staff side.
Okay. Update on operations, the occupancy report.
So I have a couple changes to this since I put it together for the board meeting last week. So Aspen Meadows, we've got 5 vacants, 2 PDD and 3 tax credit that are ready to rent and working through the wait list. We were able to get that one unit C5 done by the end of the year so that we could get that one rented out. That was a PDD that the family had graduated out of the program. And then B2, which was the meth unit, we completed that at the end of the year so that we won't lose tax credits in 2024 fast. Aspen Meadows Senior, we have 3 vacants. Fall River 5, 1 PDD and 4 tax credit. We've worked through most of the wait list and finding that people are not interested in the 40%. They're sort of in that in-between space with those units. So we're, for Fall River and Spring Creek, considering opening up or refreshing the wait list to get some new folks on that list.
Is that what the 40% means here? It's 40%.
40% AMI units.
Not 40%.
Correct. Yeah, the 40% AMI. And then same for Spring Creek, also having a hard time filling the 40% units. They had 2 pending applications and 1 pending make ready. That unit vacancy went down to 4, so it's not 6 anymore, it's 4.
So is that 40% hard to fill because people don't qualify?
Correct.
Kinda, yeah. It's hard to fill
They make
those.
too much money, or they?
Make too much, yeah.
They make too much to get into a 30%, but they don't really make enough money to cover the 40% rent. Yeah. It's just that the people that are left on the wait list, because everybody joins the one wait list regardless of where they would fall on the income level. So when we get a unit available, we go look for the people in that income bracket who could qualify, and we call them. So we're just running out of folks on the list that can meet that 40% AMI requirement. Spring Creek, so that one, Spring Creek, we're down 4 vacants because of the 2 pending applications they've gone through. Hearthstone in Lodge, we had 1 vacant that were pending make ready. We did have 1 eviction at the Lodge that was from a tenant passing away who had no next of kin, so unfortunately we have to go through the full eviction process, which is sad. So yesterday they did that with the sheriff, so that unit is getting turned to rent, so it's really 2 vacants. We have a couple people at Hearthstone and Lodge who put in notice, so those vacancies will come up, but they're not quite there yet. Suite supportive housing, we're down to 2 vacants, 1 LHA and one MHP, and the MHP one is 7228, which was an empty. So we're doing much better at filling our suites units, working with MHP, which is not really good. Village on Main, we have 2 PBB units. We are how that worked during the resyndication and adding those project-based vouchers was we offered the units to the people who were living at Village on Main initially. So it's sort of an internal wait list. We've exhausted that option, so now we're gonna pull from the Fall Rivers. Who else is on the Fall River list? It's Fall River and who else has PDPs? Not Spring Creek. No, because those are 202. It's not AMSA. Briarwood?
Briarwood has its.
Briarwood, yes,
It's not-
Briarwood's a people.
Are they combined? They just have
I
PVPs,
think-
but they're
I
not
think
seniors, so I don't know
combined.
if they're on the same list.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
So we're just gonna pull from our existing PPP wait list for the new VOM vacancies for PPPs. So we're working through getting 2 applicants for those 2 units. And in Briarwood, we have the 2 vacants that are ready to rent, and we're working through the wait list.
And are we working with the veterans just on the back, or off of Main Street there?
They still, right, they're still officing out of our old Briarwood office. I think their lease runs through the end of, or through mid-year. So I'm not sure what their plan is, but if we get more information about that, we'll definitely be bringing that to the team. Down units, we have this week 7228. We're about ready to start the rebuild with that one. We have a contractor lined up. And then Fall River 409, which was a meth cleaning. That was completed 12/31, and we're just waiting on the report. I think they were going today to check up and do like a little retest today. And then Aspen Meadows neighborhood, we have an eviction scheduled with the sheriff in January. I don't want to share too many dates because we still have a tenant living there. But that is for non-payment. So that's the update on vacancies. As far as property updates, we've had a lot going on at the properties. It's been a rough start to the year, as I mentioned earlier. We had a tenant flood Zinnia. So with they let their sink run plugged and it flooded all the way down all 4 floors. So 4th floor.
Oh, no.
So there's remediation going on there for that one. And then because of the vacant unit at the suites that was stripped down to the studs, we had a pipe burst because of the cold, since it wasn't insulated.
Is that new?
That was last week too. Yeah, we just wanted to scare you all with details. So remediation is happening for one of our units at the suites. And then, right,
Last time we were doing a rebuild.
the minus temperatures sneak up on you in January, even though you should know. And then we have some warranty stuff happening at Village on Main related to a faulty faucet that leaked in 2 units that are getting rebuilt. And now our elevator is down at Village on Main and needs to have the hydraulic motor replaced. So we're working through those. So we're actually pretty much daily putting people up in a hotel who cannot get up and down the stairs. It's really inconvenient for our tenants.
Is that what you do for the temp house too? I was just curious on what are your temp houses looks like.
Yep, we have to, under the habitability laws that were passed last year, we have to put them up in a hotel with kitchenette. Otherwise, we put them up in a regular hotel and give them a food allowance. Because they can't be living in the middle of a construction site. So we have 2 tenants in a hotel for the 1 week.
Yeah, Saturday I went to
4
everybody's
tenants.
unit to ask if they wanted to go. And one said yes, and sporadically throughout the week we've had people
Realize how hard it is to
how
go up
hard
and
it is to get up and
downstairs.
downstairs.
I know.
So we're having more.
Yeah.
So when I go there later today, I'm pretty sure we'll have a couple more comments.
So what's the long term, on this elevator getting fixed?
So we approved the quote yesterday. They'll know by the end of the week what the timeline for the part is. And then once that could be they quote 4 to 5 weeks, but it's more realistically 1 to 2. And then it's 1 to 2 days once they have the part to fix the elevator. So we're looking at potentially 5 weeks.
I'm not telling anybody that. But yeah.
Yeah, we just don't know.
Other block of fees added down there.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea if you took out the meth units?
They're not. I don't know how to isolate units from this because this is just grouped by property. But I think it's useful just to show the cause and effect.
Oh, it's a great chart. I'm not
Yeah.
asking you to do anything. I just wondered if you had an idea of how big an impact that is having over our overall.
I don't know. I can try to isolate those specific units that we experienced in 2024 and isolate those dates and then back them out of list.
Yeah,
I'll try to report that next week.
I mean, it's more my curiosity. I'm not sure what we do with the information if we got it. Or I would waste some time on it. But if I figure out a way that the information is useful, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But do you know what the average, is there like a national average or something?
For CHAFA, I think we have, how many days? I think I have an email for units to be down from that. There's a max that we're allowed under CHAFA, which
is
not realistic.
silly. That doesn't make any sense. Speaking of, there's a meth task force meeting today with the housing providers.
So Lauren, I have a couple of questions. I know you guys probably have goals as to how you're gonna fill the vacancies and the turnaround times. And then that will also bring down this cost over here, bring more money in. So I know we kicked around 10 days, we kicked around 5 days. What are you guys looking at?
I think 5 days is sort of the industry standard. Yeah, but that's in market rate, and I think that some of our tenants are a little bit harder on their units, especially at our supported housing properties. So 5 to 10, depending on the property and the length of time that the tenant was there. We have a lot of tenants who've lived in our property for a long time, so we have a lot more wear and tear, which is what we experienced with C5 at Aspen Meadows neighborhood. That family had been there for 11 plus years, so there was a lot of wear and tear. Now, ways that you can combat that, bringing down our unit terms, the time frame for our unit terms is one. Also pushing and encouraging residents to put in work orders, because some of the issues that we encounter at the end is that there was stuff that was holes in the walls, non-operational appliances that we don't know about because they never put in a work order. So building a better relationship with our tenants, building that trust so that they want to tell us when things are not working, so that we can get in there and fix it. And also getting back in the habit of twice a year inspections for LHA specifically. We get a lot of inspection requests from our lenders, investors, community partners that are involved, state of Colorado. But if we can start getting in those units twice a year, we can have better tabs on the state of them and address things ahead of time, so that our unit terms actually can come down in cost.
We get a lot of inspection requests.
Yeah, I think they'll die down. We got an uptick in a lot of inspection requests because of COVID. There were no inspections, and so lenders and investors now want to get in there.
Is there any way to do one or two inspections a year?
They won't share, they won't approve. We've talked, and we actually at BCHA talked about that with federal housing folks that came to visit the spoke on Kaufman about what a pain it is for our tenants to constantly be interrupted. We try, and I encourage our community managers to try this as well. If you know you just had an inspection by one and someone else comes a month or two later and wants to do one, and they usually pick the units. I ask them to pick 5 alternates, because if they pick a unit that just got inspected, we want a different one. Because we don't want to have the same people constantly getting picked on just because they have a nice unit. If we're picking units, we tend to pick the nice ones that people are clean and organized, and we can't do that. We should be really they pick the unit and tell us what they want to see.
Okay. We're running close to time here, and I want to give Sarah time to dazzle us with
I'm not going to go through the whole list. I can give you suites in the last month from December 10th at 16 welfare checks. So there's some instability with some folks there, that thank goodness we have clinicians and Clinica and all the things that are helping these folks out. That's pretty typical around the holidays. So we had just had 9 other calls there, and then all the other properties were pretty 0 to 4 calls. Zinnia had 13 calls and 5 welfare checks. So the only other thing is that waiting for the date for the cameras to be delivered, and then working with staff on implementing a schedule for our installers so they they can basically plan that out and give us, dates of approximate times they'll be finished with installs and move into the next one. So, that's it.
We bought them though. We used our grant money to buy them. That was a mountain.
12:31 at like 5 p.m. or something. Did they have to be done by?
We wanted the invoices to be paid by December 31st, and so yes, they got done by December 31st.
Any questions for me?
No, the hammers will come up and copy a conversation, I'm sure.
I'm still waiting to see the net phone.
Oh. Yeah.
If it ever does come up, yeah. Everybody leaves it.
Okay.
We'll do if I'm allowed to. I will. I've been telling everybody about it. Just like one part, not bad, so.
Did you give them the business's name?
I would love to get that.
IntelliGuard. They're not the remediators, they're the folks that make the product.
So, Lauren, do you have anything more from Executive Wallen, do you? Okay, so I guess my question now is, because we're really pushing our 11 o'clock, we're starting to get more things talked about. Do we want to back up and go to 9 and make it our 2 hours again? Because we said when we changed it, that we were going to come back if we felt we needed it. So we can talk about that again next month if you want.
Well, we took time about schedules being here, so. Yeah. If we're talking the schedule overall, I think that should be part of the question for next month.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? Melissa, Glenn, okay, Melissa and Glenn. You guys are so quiet. Okay, meeting's adjourned. We'll see you next month.